Greetings, everyone, and welcome to this latest Blu-ray and DVDs and book update. Apologize there hasn't been a video in a few days due to the bad weather we recently had, and without having any power for a couple of days, can't really do much. So we got quite a pile of stuff to go through today. So what did we get? Find out next here on the Media Files. Welcome back. You have to excuse the dog barking. I think it's actually a neighbor dog that's outside barking. So if you hear a dog barking in the background, that's what it is. I went to my local Dollar Tree, and I know I did a video. I think it was about a week ago or a couple weeks ago where they had 50-cent movies, for Blu-rays and DVDs. Apparently, that was still going on, and the one I went to didn't have very much, but this one had a bunch. Yeah. So first off, this one was not part of the 50 cents sale, unfortunately, but found it at Disc Replay, and it sounded interesting. Stars Robert De Niro and Jeremy Irons in The Mission. Yeah, the 2-disc special edition. I have never seen this movie. I've always heard good things about it, but I love that the Ennio Morricone score for this. And so I kind of knew of the score, but I've never seen the movie, so can't wait to check that out. Up next, got a Steelbook. As most of you probably already know, on the collector's Facebook page, Walmart has been throwing a bunch of Steelbooks into their $5 bin. If you can find them, they are hard to find, depending on where you're at. Sadly, I only found one. But I grabbed it because the artwork looked pretty cool. And I know the movie's kind of somewhat okay, but hey, it's a Luc Besson movie, so, I've never seen it, heard it looks good. So I got the limited edition steelbook of Valerian in the City of 1,000 Planets. Yeah, that artwork is so badass looking. I mean, I cannot wait to actually sit down and watch this. That looks really, really cool. Yeah. So, then up next, we have a big buttload of movies that were 50 cents. Oh, yeah. Now, this is going to take a while to get through because we got quite a pile of stuff. So, first off, yes, I have this movie. I've had it before, but I didn't have this particular edition because the one that I had many moons ago, actually, it's right here. Hang on a second. Is the Ultimate Edition of The Mummy. Yeah. The version that I got is the original Collector's Edition version. Yes, the single disc edition of The Mummy. So, now I think this has, maybe a couple of things that are not on the limited edition, but hey, for 50 cents, this movie's great regardless. So, now, I have to excuse the chair for a second. Sorry about that. There's quite a pile of stuff down here. And quite a bunch. Anyway, with that, let's go through even more stuff. Yeah. First off, this movie is a remake from a French film. I believe it is called District B13, I believe it is, which uses a lot of the parkour style of running. But we have Paul Walker, David Bell, and the RZA in Brick Mansions. Yeah, for 50 cents, I'm like, hey, it's one of, Paul Walker's Fast and the Furious movies, and hey, I mean, sounds interesting. Like I said, if I'm going to lose 50 cents, I'm just going to lose 50 cents because I'm not that worried about it. Because if I don't like it, throw it in a dollar store, throw it at a yard sale, put maybe $2 on it, give my money back. So up next, we have a Martin Scorsese film, which I do not own. I have never seen it because I'm trying to collect all of Scorsese's work that he has directed. I've got most of it, except for a lot of his earlier stuff, like way before Goodfellas and The Departed and that type of stuff. So we have Robert De Niro and Liza Minnelli in New York, New York. Yeah, I believe it's his only musical that he has done. I think this is just the bare bones edition. I know there's a collector's edition out there. If I find the collector's edition, I'll replace this version with that version. So yeah, not really gonna complain for 50 cents. So this, however, was not 50 cents. I just happened to get lucky and find it at a mom and pop thrift store, which I'm not sure if you can tell, but down here I have the original Black Hawk Down release. Now I don't know why, it seems like this version and the deluxe edition are pretty easy to find, but this one's kind of hard to find, at least around in my area. But they happen to have it, so I got it for $2. Have the Black Hawk Down extended cut, with 8 minutes added back into the film. And I've never seen the extended cut, but hey, the movie's great. I absolutely love Ridley Scott, and I can't wait to watch this version of the film. So up next, now the rest of these that I'm going to mention, these are what is left of the 50-cent DVD and Blu-rays. So up next, we have kind of an interesting movie set in the final days of the First World War during Malta's Revolution for Independence. We have Malcolm McDowell and Harvey Keitel in Blood on the Crown. Yeah, like I said, most of these movies I've never heard of, but it just sounds interesting because, generally we don't really get a whole lot of movies about the Great War, or in this case World War One, because a lot of movies are basically focused more on World War II and currently the modern era of warfare. Yeah, lots of good stuff. Up next, we have basically a true story that actually happened back in the 90s with figure skating. Yep, you should know what this is by now. What can I say? Harley Quinn goes nuts with an ice skate. What can I say? Yeah. Margot Robbie and the the Winter Soldier in Tanya. Yeah, for 50 cents. I heard it was pretty good. Sounded interesting. Hey, for 50 cents, why not give it a shot? Now, I know it's on Netflix and what have you, but I know sometimes internet can be a little staticky, and I get a lot of the rotating blue circle of pain in the assery. Yeah. So up next, we have a shark horror related movie. Yeah. This one, it sounded interesting. I've seen some of his work from the Final Destination films. We have Shark Night. Yeah. 50 cents. Why not? Come on, it's a monster movie. That's basically what it is. If you like cheesy shark movies or what have you, hey, it should be good. Let's see here. Up next, we have another. Let's see here, a martial art film directed by none other than the legendary martial arts choreographer Yuen Wu Ping, which continues on the Ip Man legacy. Now, when I put this with my martial art films, I'll probably put it with all my Ip Man movies. That way, everything's just kind of, put together. I'm, of course, talking about Master Z, Ip Man Legacy. Yeah. Come on. It's directed by Yuen Wu Ping. If you haven't seen Fist of Legend, watch that movie, because that's, in my opinion, probably his best directed movie that he's done. And I know he's done the oh, what is it? He's done the sequel to Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. So, and that was good enough for me. So up next we have a reacquisition. I've seen it, saw it in theaters way back in like 2001 when it came out. Yeah, I know, I'm kind of that old. Well, what can I say? The games are still being made to this day. Everybody loves this heroic, feminine Indiana Jones. I'm, of course, talking about Lara Croft, Tomb Raider. Hey, for 50 cents, I mean, I remember seeing this movie, and, it was pretty good for what it was back in the day. I mean, yeah, they've rebooted it since then, but, hey, it has its moments. It's pretty good for what it is. See here. So, continuing on with the DVDs here. Let me just go ahead and just grab all these out of the bag here real quick. So that way we'll do all Blu-rays when we get done with it. So up next, I have a interesting thriller movie, set during the realm, I believe it's Vietnam. Yeah, Vietnamese related type of movie. We have Nick Nolte, Gene Hackman, and Joanna Cassidy in Under Fire. Yeah, it just sounded interesting because I love Gene Hackman, and he's such a great actor. I know he is retired now. I believe he's an author, as far as I know. Yeah, so can't wait to watch that. Up next, we have a classic 90s thriller, probably mid-90s when Harrison Ford was doing his thriller run, directed by none other than Sidney Pollack. Yeah, if you haven't seen him, and I know he's in Eyes Wide Shut, but he's directed a lot of really good movies. Check out a lot of his work. We have Harrison Ford and Kristen Scott Thomas in Random Hearts. Yeah. I've heard of this movie. It looks really, really good. Basically it's, your typical, Harrison Ford type of movie because you know what he's about to do. He's going to kick some ass whenever he gets the chance. Up next, we have I believe it's it's part of a trilogy. Okay, so that's why it sounded interesting. Apparently it's the second one that I have. I'll have to track down the other two. Found, like I said, for 50 cents, found Rogue Warfare, The Hunt. Yeah. Now, this is the second one in the Rogue Warfare trilogy. I'll have to, like I said, track down the other two. That way I can complete the trilogy, because it sounds like a lot like what I like to call the Has Fallen trilogy. Olympus has fallen, London has fallen, and Angels has fallen. So, let's see here. Up next, we have a World War II film set in the realm of Mongolia. Yeah, when they were trying to fight off the Japanese Imperial Army during World War II. We have the Warlord. Yeah. It's just kind of interesting seeing, different films, from, other than the American perspective, to kind of see what other people did, during, that unfortunate, time. So up next, we have what looks like almost your typical, action, futuristic military type of thriller or whatever. But hey, for 50 cents, I'm not going to complain. It just, the title's kind of caught my eye. Kind of reminds me a little bit of, of what is it? Like, of some of the, Scott Adkin movies. However, though, it is executively produced by Mario Kazer, talking about Foxtrot 6. Yeah, so all of you probably should know who Mario Kazer is. He brought us the Terminator, the Rambo movies, and as well as the original Total Recall starring Schwarzenegger. Yeah, lots of great stuff. So, up next, I don't know if this is actually based on a true story or not, but it kind of reminded me of the 33, about the coal miners that happened back in, when was it? 5 years ago or something like that? I can't remember. For 50 cents, I figured, hey, if I don't like it, I can just sell it. So, I'm not really going to complain. But we have Mine 9. Yeah. Sounds a little bit like, that let's say coal miners are trapped, and they only have an hour's worth of oxygen as they fight to survive. Let's see if there's anybody in this movie that I recognize. Nope, nobody. So we'll see how it is for 50 cents. Can't really complain there. So up next, this is a reacquisition. I remember seeing it a while ago when it came out. I believe one of my uncles had gotten this movie for Christmas, and it sounded interesting. But of course, it stars none other than Batman. But which Batman? Yeah. I'm of course talking about in my opinion, probably the second greatest Batman, Christian Bale, in Rescue Dawn. Yeah, now this is set during the World of Vietnam, and I believe this is actually based on a true story or similar situation that happened during 1965 in the jungles of Vietnam. However, though, it is directed by none other than Werner Herzog. Yeah. If you don't know who that is, you've probably seen him in The Mandalorian. He plays one of the guy that's sitting there in front of that table when Mandalorian goes in there to, trade Beskar with him in the first couple of episodes. That's him. So up next, we have the 5th season in this BBC franchise. I have now 4 out of the 5 seasons. I need to track down season 4, but I finally got, for 50 cents, Orphan Black, season 5. Yeah. Now, this is the final season of this show. I have not actually watched all of it. It's really, really good. If you like suspenseful, thrillers, it's got some comedic weirdness to it, but it's kind of weird. It kind of goes all over the place, but what can I say? Check it out if you have not watched Orphan Black. It is an awesome, awesome show. So, up next, we have this movie. I remember seeing, I think it was like a preview for it or something like that, because it had a really stellar cast and, big name cast for it. And, I'm like, well, hey, for 50 cents, it sounds like a pretty cool, sci-fi, thriller type of thing or whatever. But we're talking about, of course, stars Michael Shannon, Joel Edgerton, Kirsten Dunst, Adam Driver, and Sam Shepard in Midnight Special. Yeah. I believe this came out before or right around the same time as The Force Awakens, I believe, because I think Adam Driver has a very small role in this movie. I don't know. I think I remember seeing him in this, but memory doesn't really serve me that well on it. But hey, for 50 cents, why not? And lastly, for the DVDs, we have a really, really awesome thriller with a huge cast. One of the cast members that I mentioned in Midnight Special also stars in this. Hey, so is Batman. Yeah. We have Christian Bale, Woody Harrelson, Casey Affleck, Forrest Whitaker, Willem Dafoe, Zoe Saldana, and Sam Shepard in Out of the Furnace. Yeah. I remember hearing really, really good things about this movie, and it's directed by a director by the name of Scott Cooper, who's done a lot of really, really good stuff. If you have not watched any of his movies, I highly recommend checking this out, but also I believe it's on Netflix right now. Check out The Pale Blue Eye, which is kind of like a gothic mystery thriller type of movie where Christian Bale plays like an investigator, and one of his people that helps him out is Edgar Allan Poe, which is actually kind of interesting. But he's also done a really good movie with Liam Neeson, called A Walk Among the Tombstones. Check that out. Oh, there's one more DVD in the bag. Hang on a second, I forgot about this one. Yeah, so with this movie, Heard really good things about it because this was right when Bryan Cranston was getting huge because of Breaking Bad. And, I believe he had won, I think, 2 or 3 times already for playing, for his role as Walter White in the Breaking Bad series. But this movie, it's directed by the guy who did the Austin Powers movies. Yeah. I'm, of course, talking about Trumbo. Yeah. It's basically about, Dalton Trumbo, who was Hollywood's top screenwriter in the late 1940s. And, it sounds pretty interesting, kind of like one of those, you know, based on, true life movies, but also what's kind of cool about it is that it also co-stars, not just Diane Lane and Helen Mirren, but it also has, John Goodman in there. So you got me sold on that, with John Goodman being in there. Hey, that's pretty cool there. So, let's see. We might be able to get all of the Blu-rays up here. So, yeah. So let me dig these out of the bag here real quick. Yeah, as you can tell, they're all in a, baggy bag down here. All right. So, with this movie, it kind of sucked that the slipcase was kind of torn and whatnot, but I'm like, I'll just throw it away anyway, or if I find it again with the slipcover, I'll just sell the other one for it for next to nothing. But with this movie, I remember hearing really good things about it. The trailer looked interesting, but one of the it has a pretty decent cast in it. One of the actors I do not remember very well, but 2 of them I pretty much do. Of course, talking about none other than Al Pacino and Bardock Abdi. Yeah, if you don't know who that is, I'll explain in a minute. As you can see, we have the Pirates of Somalia. Yeah. Now, as you can tell, the slipcase is damaged, but hey, for 50 cents, I'm not really going to complain for 50 cents because, hey, slipcover, gone. Don't need it. So, anyways, but yeah, if you don't know who Bardock Abdi is, he co-starred with Tom Hanks in Captain Phillips. He was the lead pirate in that movie, and he did such an amazing job that he almost got an Oscar, and that was his first film that he had ever been in. So, not only that, I mean, it even has, The Godfather, Michael Corleone in it. I mean, it's Al Pacino. I mean, how much cooler could it get? I mean, for 50 cents, hey, why not? It sounds like a really, really cool movie. So up next, we have a very interesting performance by none other than Bane himself. Yeah. Now, this movie came out after, unfortunately, his Fantastic Four movie, which I'm sure everybody knows by now, didn't do very well because, what can I say? The production company, Warner Brothers, Fox got involved with it. Josh Trank got screwed over with his movie, and I hope someday that since Disney now owns Fox, that they may eventually release the original director's cut version of the film, because it would be interesting to see what it would look like compared to what it is. However, though, he went on to do a really cool movie with Tom Hardy about America's most notorious gangster. I'm, of course, talking about Capone. Yeah, I remember hearing pretty good things about it because, sure, he's been, Al Capone's been, portrayed by lots of people, lots of great actors. He's been portrayed by Robert De Niro in The Untouchables. See, who else has portrayed him? I believe, I'm not sure who else has portrayed him, but but Al Capone has been, portrayed, quite a lot. But this is set during his last years in life, so that'll be kind of interesting to see, how he, can't wait to see how Tom Hardy's, version of this goes. So, hey, For 50 cents, I'm not going to complain. So up next, we have here. Yeah, we got ourselves a couple of horror movies. Yeah. So with this one, this is technically part of the Conjuring universe. Yeah. It's more of a side film. But hey, for 50 cents, and not only that, I got it on Blu-ray of all things, so I'm not going to complain at all. So we have The Curse of La Llorona. Llorona, I believe that's how you pronounce it. I don't know. But if I misspelled it or mispronounced it, hey, I'll learn it eventually. So, yeah, I mean, for 50 cents, hey, it'll be nice to add to the Conjuring collection. Which, I can't wait for the, I believe it's the Insidious series is what I'm thinking of, the newest one that's coming out soon. And I believe there is a Conjuring 4 in the works. And also I believe they're finally going to do a movie on, I believe it's the tall skeletal character. I can't remember what his name is. So yeah, up next, I'm surprised they actually had this movie in there with the slipcover. I know people get confused on the title of it because it changes, either on the slipcase or on the, front cover itself. But hey, for 50 cents, figured why not give it a shot? Because, it's got, one of my favorite actresses in it. I'm, of course, talking about Panic. Or in this case, as it's also probably says underneath the slipcover. Here, where is it? Yeah, Satanic Panic. So I don't know why they would change it, but hey, it's got Rebecca Romijn in it. I mean, Mystique herself. So hey, not really gonna complain there. So not only that, what's cool about it is that the slipcover's all nice and it's shiny, and it's also embossed. Maybe I'll do a close-up or a closer look video or something like that of it in a later date. So up next, I found this Gary Oldman movie, which sounded interesting because it was written by one of the writers of one of the more recent shark-related movies, The Shallows. I'm talking about Mary. It sounded interesting, hey, I mean, it's got Gary Oldman in it, so, I figured, hey, this is him post-Batman and post, what was it that he was in? Churchill, whichever the movie it is that he portrayed Churchill in. Darkest Hour, that's it, yeah. So up next, I remember seeing this movie in theaters, and I remember overhearing a bunch of people in the audience towards the end of the film. They're getting into it. They're all freaking out and everything. But one thing nobody really had any idea about this was that this is actually a remake of a classic Hitchcock film. Yeah. Nobody had any idea that this movie was going to get remade, but hey, it starred Shia LaBeouf, literally right around the earliest Transformer days, like right after he did Holes. He's kind of starting to get up there. I'm, of course, talking about Disturbia. Yeah. Now, this movie, it is a remake of the classic Alfred Hitchcock film, Rear Window. Yeah. And not only that, though, it's written by two of probably one of the best screenwriters currently out there right now. Christopher Landon, who's mainly known for doing several of the Paranormal Activity movies, and also Carl Ellsworth, who most recently written the what was it? Oh, the Russell Crowe film Unhinged. Yeah, if you have not seen Unhinged, check that movie out. I mean, it's literally, in my opinion, it's like, his truck is Jaws on wheels. Just don't piss him off. So, let's see here. So up next, we have ourselves, let's see here. Got about, a few more left here. One based on a video game, which actually I watched over just this past Easter weekend. Yeah. I knew it was alright. It did okay in the theater, but everyone was like, meh. But hey, visually, I thought the CGI was really, really well done. Until you get to that certain scene, which a lot of people seem to do now, where it's like, hey, you got a big building, let's knock it over. It's been done to death already. Figure out something else to crash. But of course, I'm talking about none other than The Rock himself in Rampage. Yeah, for 50 cents. I mean, hey, I know people bash this movie left and right, but hey, if you can get past a lot of the quirkiness of it, it's actually a pretty good, video game adaptation of the characters, because the video game you play either as the giant ape, the wolf, or the giant lizard. Now, the lizard, obviously, they had to change a few things, but basically, in the game, you go around and you just destroy buildings. I mean, that's basically all you do. But the movie was really, really well done, and I thought. So up next, let's see, we have a Michael Mann upgrade. Yeah, one of Michael Mann's his movies that I've seen before way back in the day, but I'm like, hey, you know what? It's time to upgrade, and yes, I still will keep my DVD because sometimes when I go camping, I like to take a few movies with me, and I don't have a portable, Blu-ray player on my laptop, just DVD, so I'm still going to keep those. But of course, I'm talking about his only film that he's done with Tom Cruise, and I thought it was a very interesting take. We have Collateral. Yeah. I know people didn't really like Tom Cruise as a bad guy, but I'm like, you know what? He hasn't played very many villains at all, and I thought it was just an interesting take, of him, acting as like a gun for hire type of movie. And, what can I say? His performance is really, really well done. So up next, we have one of his most recent action-related, old school manly man type of movies, which I'm about halfway through it right now, really enjoying it. I'm of course talking about Liam Neeson's The Marksman. Yeah. Like I said, I'm about halfway through it, and I'm really digging it. So far it's really, really good. Very kind of a thriller-ish type of movie, and I know I just watched what was it? One of his latest movies that he did with Martin Campbell, Memory, and that was pretty good, but I just didn't like the way it ended. So up next, we have a movie that basically took pretty much 12 years to make. Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, 12 years to make, because it was kind of one of those movies where you had to kind of just wait and wait and wait for, the actor to grow up. I'm, of course, talking about Richard Linklater's Boyhood. Yeah. Figured, hey, I heard it's supposed to be really, really good. And, it's Richard Linklater. I mean, come on, he's done, lots of great movies. He's done, A Scanner Darkly, which is one of my favorites. And he did Slacker, which is what Kevin Smith uses his inspiration for Clerks. So, up next, we have a movie that just sounds really interesting and kind of a sci-fi-ish type of movie, which, one of the actors, I had no idea that he was even in it. But, we've got Harley Quinn, and, we have the newest version of Scotty, Margot Robbie, Simon Pegg, and Austin Powers himself, Mike Myers, in Terminal. Yeah. It sounds interesting, but hey, like I said, I'm only paying, all of this stuff was only 50 cents. I mean, so I'm not going to really lose out on anything if I don't like it. So up next, this movie, I've heard things about it. It just sounded interesting because one of the producers helped get the Harry Potter movies off the ground, and apparently it's based off of a comic book, from what I understand, which I've never actually read. We have Zoe Saldana and Madison Wolfe in I Kill Giants. Yeah, that cover actually looks pretty cool, where she's ready to go into battle. And it's kind of funny that, she's wearing Easter Bunny ears, because I got this on Easter weekend, so call that a weird coincidence, right? So, and finally, the final movie that I managed to grab, and they had several copies of it, but they only had one of this particular edition, which I snagged immediately. Based on not only a true story, but probably one of the all-time great, teachers, about not just only faith, but also not only that though, probably one of the greatest men ever in American history. I'm, of course, talking about the special edition version of Selma. Yeah, the lifelong, long-awaited true story based on Martin Luther King Jr. Yeah. I've heard many, 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 many great things about this movie, um, and not only that though, it's basically from what I understand out of it is that it's probably one of the best adaptations of any sort of historical figure of all time. But what's kind of interesting though is that this particular special edition is, as you can tell, it is gold here. Now the other Blu-ray edition has basically the same front cover, but everything is red. Yeah. Now, the special edition has says it has Blu-ray, DVD, and digital, but it actually has two Blu-ray discs. Yeah, has one disc which features the movie as well as the same bonus features, but there's also a bonus disc which has deleted scenes and recreating Selma, and also the Road to Selma documentary on it, which I can't wait to sit down and watch this. And hey, what can I say? Hopefully it's really, really good. And what can I say? 50 cents. So finally, yeah. So that pretty much does it for the movies. Got two more things here, a couple of books that I managed to find. Yeah. So, as I was kind of looking around their books, now these are only like, their books there like $1.25 or something like that, because, everything has kind of gone up a little bit because of COVID. So, with that, one of the movies that I had mentioned earlier was Trumbo. Yeah. So, I managed to browse around, and they actually had a copy of the Trumbo book. Yeah. So, I'm going to read this and see how well it compares to the movie. So, hopefully it's good. It can't really beat it because, this is how sometimes movies get made. Yeah. Oh, set this, set it there. Yeah. And finally, last but not least, there's actually one more Blu-ray which I'll get after this, which I found at Disc Replay. Yeah, so we're having a big thing here, big Easter weekend sale. What can I say? So finally, with this novelization, I've seen the movie, finally watched the entire trilogy all the way through. I've seen the first one, saw the second one. It took me forever, I don't know why, to get through, the third film, because, I thought the visual effects alone were amazing. The writer, director, of those movies were absolutely amazing. Well, two directors in that franchise. I'm, of course, talking about the third film in the series, the official novelization of War for the Planet of the Apes. Yeah. Now, it sucks that they're not going to do any more with Andy Serkis. I know there is going to be, there is a fourth Planet of the Apes film in the works, but it will be a completely different story, so it's not really connected to the Andy Serkis trilogy. Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. I believe it's called Kingdom for Planet of the Apes, so I don't know if the storyline will continue where this one left off, or what. We'll have to wait and find out here in about a year and a half. So, and finally, so Disc Replay had their big sale going on. Buy 3 Blu-rays, get, or, box sets. Buy 3, get 3 free. I I didn't manage to really find anything there at all, which was kind of weird because most of the stuff that I was kind of eyeballing, I already got for 50 cents. So, I'm not going to complain. Got it much cheaper, but hey. But they did have one Blu-ray that I have been eyeballing for quite a while. I know a lot of people bashed the movie. They said it pretty much ruined the director's career. But hey, you know what? Beggars can't be choosers. What can I say? Yeah. We have none other than probably one of his best known movies for kind of, screwing up the genre. But hey, you know what? I don't really care because I've never seen it. For all I know, I may like it. But hey, I only paid I believe it was like $8 in the end for it. Yeah, and it's a Criterion Blu-ray of all things. Yeah, I'm of course talking about the extended director's cut of the film. Yes, the extended version only, which runs for 216 minutes long. If you have an afternoon to kill, this one will kill it for you. But of course, what can I say? What is it? Michael Cimino's Heaven's Gate. Yeah. Now, if I mispronounce the director's name, I'll figure it out how to pronounce it eventually. So, if you don't, go crazy in the comments or whatever saying, oh, you mispronounced his name, I'll figure it out eventually. But let's just say that the director of this film has done some amazing work. Check out The Deer Hunter if you have not seen it. But basically, this is his version of, it's his Western epic. Basically, it's kind of like, how Kevin Costner went off to do Dances with Wolves. This is basically kind of his Dances with Wolves type of movie. No, it has nothing to do with Indians or anything like that, but it has to deal with the Western expansion of America in the late 1800s. So, like I said, it's got, a pretty decent cast in it. It's got Chris Christopherson, who stars in it. Let's see here. It also has Christopher Walken, John Hurt, Sam Waterston, Brad Dwarf, and also co-stars Jeff Bridges in this movie. Cool. I did not know that. I'll have to actually sit down and watch this when I get the chance to, because I know it's a long movie. Which means now I'm gonna have to track down the original theatrical cut. So that way I can kind of compare, what the difference is really, between, everything. So, yeah. So that's quite a haul with all that stuff. Yeah. So as, what can I say? I finally got to do a nice long video down here with the new setup. And with none of that, with the heater not wanting to kick into gear because thank God, it's finally getting warmer and spring is here. Thank God. Yeah, so with that, big old huge update. Remember to please like and subscribe and post comments down below. Also, I'd like to thank a few of my newest subscribers that have subscribed to the channel. I thank you very much. Tell your friends, and whatnot, hey, to keep an eye out for this channel. And yes, there will be more content coming. It's just whenever I can get a chance to get around to it. Because, have to deal with family and all that stuff. And, visiting family, especially for a major holiday weekend, pretty much takes time away from doing, video updates and what have you. And I know I had posted a short on my channel that the Ford at Fox box set close-up video is coming soon. Yes, that is in the works. I just have to kind of figure out how to get everything set up and whatnot to kind of show that big, huge box set off to everybody. And it's probably one of the, biggest collections that I have in, or rather box sets that I have in my entire collection, which I managed to get for only $20. And I'll explain that story when we do the close-up video. So yeah, so with that, once again, please like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next update. Take care.